Hello everybody, my name is Joshua and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Coffee, Cats, and King, where we will discuss books both new and old. I will share with you pictures of my cats who will make you wish they were your cats, and I will drink enough coffee for me and everybody watching. So, the mug today is another Christmas mug. Hopefully this will be the last Christmas mug you see me with this year. The shirt, I think I've shown this one off before. It's another Twilight Zone episode, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, as written by the wonderful Richard Matheson. So, today I'm back with another tag video. This is the Friends tag. I don't think I was actually tagged for this video, but I saw B from B Reading do it and thought it was pretty cool, so thought I'd give it a try. It's a quick one, but basically the prompts all spell out the word friends. So very simple. Only a couple questions, and let's get into it. So, F is for friendship. Name a book with a strong friendship in it. So for this one, I chose Redwall by Brian Jacques. And this is an excellent book for all ages, in my opinion. It's about a young field mouse named Matthias, who is an apprentice. And Matthias lives in this wonderful, peaceful little village, if you will, with all the other animals. One day, the little town is besieged by a rather awful group of bandits. They are run by this terrible bandit leader named Clooney, and Clooney is very well known. He's notorious for being vicious and for leaving no survivors, and it is up to young Matthias to gather everyone together and save their little town. So, it's an excellent read, first of all. I picked it for the friendship because these little animals, the way that they band together, the way they work together and care about each other, is just so beautiful, very touching, and it's so cute to see, this little mouse running around with a badger and them having such a bond. I don't know, something about it always warms my heart a little. It's an excellent read if you haven't read it before, and some great friendships in that book. Next up, R is for Real Life, a non-fiction book you want to read. Okay, for this, I found this at Goodwill a while back, I believe, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm excited for it. This is Anna Journey's An Arrangement of Skin. Man, has a very interesting cover. So this is a book of essays by Miss Anna Journey, who is primarily a poet, which already intrigues me. I want to read some of her poetry. But this is a collection of essays on such things as a call that she made to a suicide hotline, life lessons about taxidermy, her mother's ideas of telling these macabre, horrific stories at the dinner table, and talks about music, it talks about tattoos. It's just a mix of very interesting sounding essays. I picked it up because of the cover originally, and then I read what it was going to be about. Thought it sounded very intriguing. So I'm looking forward to getting to that sometime this year. I don't know when yet. I've been on sort of a horror kick lately, and I'm trying to transition into some fantasy and science fiction just to give myself something a little fresher before I burn myself out. So that might be somewhere in between there, but we'll see. Okay, I is indie author, a book by an indie author. Obviously, self-explanatory. I picked one by a man I like to consider a friend of mine anyway. This is Tony Bertowski's Claus, Legend of the Fat Man. And this one is signed to me. I actually have his whole collection signed to me. We've done quite a bit of talking through the years as he's built up from his first book to now. I've told you before, I'm a sucker for fiction revolving around holidays, and in particular Halloween or Christmas time. So this is actually more of a science fiction series than it is fantasy. You would think it might be fantasy, but it's not. So a whole series revolving around the Santa Claus legend. And this is the first one about Claus himself. Goes through a bunch of the other characters, the Heat Miser, Jack Frost, Rudolph in his incarnation in this series. And it's really cool, really interesting. Tony is self-published. He does this all himself. He puts some immense work into what he does, and he has done a great job with this series. If you want a very, very fresh take on the legend of Santa Claus, pick up some of his books. Start here with Claus, Legend of the Fat Man. It's an awesome read. You can pick it up on Amazon or on his website if you potentially want it signed. So just check it out. Moving on to E. E is for endings. A book where the ending made you scream. Alright. You guys know that a Stephen King had to show up on here, but I did things a little differently this time. So, my two least favorite Stephen King novels of all time were Sleeping Beauties, followed rather closely at the time by Cujo. So yeah, this is my second least favorite Stephen King novel. It could just be the time that I read it, I don't know, but for me, it felt like a muddled mess. I know that Stephen King was very much under the influence of alcohol and cocaine at the time that he wrote this. He doesn't actually remember writing it at all. But so for me, it was very confusing and all over the place. But I still read it because it's King and I had to know, and it's supposed to be a classic. But then I got to the end, and a few things just really, it made me scream, but not in a good way. One, a character dies that just kind of made me mad. It makes sense, but it still made me mad. Two, this was a book, you got to the end, and I felt like there was no message. It just happened because it happened. And now, being a little more mature, I understand that. I guess he was going for a more realistic approach, and that's what this whole book was about. But at the time, I just remember being so mad because I wanted, a book like The Shining, where I felt like there was a clear-cut message at the end. And with Cujo, it was just, this dog goes on a rampage because this sort of thing happens and these unfortunate people got in the way. So I was just really mad when I read Cujo. I guess I need to give it another read now that I'm a little older, a little more mature. I don't know if it'll change my perception of the book or not. But there you go. That book absolutely made me so angry that I just wanted to scream. Moving on to N for new. A new book you can't wait to buy. Okay, so this one I'm going to put it up here because obviously I don't have it yet, but this is Richard Chizmar's Chasing the Boogeyman. And I've got the synopsis here on my phone. It says, in the summer of 1988, the mutilated bodies of several missing girls begin to turn up in a small Maryland town. The grisly evidence leads police to the terrifying assumption that a serial killer is on the loose in the quiet suburb. But soon, a rumor begins to spread that the evil stalking local teens is not entirely human. Law enforcement, as well as members of the FBI, are certain that the killer is a living, breathing madman, and he's playing games with them. For a once peaceful community trapped in the depths of paranoia and suspicion, it feels like a nightmare that will never end. Recent college graduate Richard Chizmar returns to his hometown just as a curfew is enacted and a neighborhood watch is formed. In the midst of preparing for his wedding and embarking on a writing career, he soon finds himself thrust into real-life horror. Inspired by the terrifying events, Richard writes a personal account of the serial killer's reign of terror, unaware that these events will continue to haunt him for years to come. So, first of all, I'm always interested when Richard Chizmar puts something new out. The man is incredibly good at what he does. He writes very effective horror on his own, and he has edited and compiled some of the best horror anthologies, in my opinion. What really intrigues me about this one, though, is this is a mix of true crime and fiction. So half of it is real. It's memoirs of Richard at that time, actually being involved sort of in the investigation of the serial killer. And then at some point in between, it's slowly interspersed with fiction to create this very horrific read where you don't know what's real and what is not. So I'm very interested. I know that if anyone can pull it off, it will be that man. I think it comes out sometime in August, so we've got a bit of a wait. But I'm definitely going to have this one pre-ordered, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. We are down to D for Dark, a book which has dark themes. Okay, and this is another one that unfortunately I don't have a physical copy anymore. I will eventually get one again, but this is Gary Brombeck's Mr. Hands. And I read this quite a few years ago, but I still remember it pretty well. First of all, the blurb about the book and the cover of the book makes it seem like it is going to be about this creature named Mr. Hands stalking and killing people. But to my surprise when I read it, it's not really, because Mr. Hands doesn't show up until almost the very end of the book. What this book is about is horrific child abuse and the consequences of that abuse. And in this case, Mr. Hands shows up because of the main character's absolute passion and drive in trying to gain revenge because of this. I'm not going to really say much else, but the book definitely does not shy away from darkness. Like I said, it very much revolves around child abuse. There are some really horrific scenes in there that were just so hard to read. And I'll tell you, I mean, I was crying when I was reading this book. But it's not just there for shock value. I'll tell you, I've read everything that Gary Brombeck has put out, and this man knows how to write. Everything he writes is a horror novel, but the horror is always kind of secondary to the real life horrors that he takes on and that he really talks about. And he does it in such a poetic, beautiful way. I would suggest any of his writing, honestly, but Mr. Hands was the first that I picked up from him, and I remember it just kind of blew me away. But very dark, very hard to read at times, so satisfying at the same time. This man is very masterful in the way he writes. I highly suggest picking up some of his work if you have not read it before. But like I said, be warned, he does not shy away from it. He wants to make you very uncomfortable because this is a very uncomfortable topic. And then, last, S, the end of Friends, is share. Share the love and tag some of your favorite channels. Alright, I don't know who has done this tag already and who hasn't, but I'm going to tag 3 people. And of course, anyone else who wants to do it, please do it. But I'm going to tag Alex from the Bookbus. I'm going to tag Ariel from Reading and Whatnot. And I'm going to tag Linda from Linda Book Lady. I suggest all 3 of you do it. I think it'd be fun. I think these would be good questions for you. And then there is a little bonus question as a sign-off. It says, show a gift from a friend that's special to you. Okay, so I'm going to show off something here. First of all, I want to say this is not actually a gift. This was a commission. So I did pay for this, paid good money for it, and it was well worth it. As a lot of you know, Richard over at Are You Into Horror has been a jewelry maker for a very long time. I think he has, I'm not going to say how many years experience, because if I get it wrong, I'm going to make him sound older than he is, and then he might kick my butt. But I want to say he has 50 years experience. So there, I said it anyway. So I commissioned him recently to make some jewelry for my wife for our upcoming anniversary. She absolutely loved it, and I wanted to show off some of the pieces that he made. So my wife is a big Little Mermaid fan. She has Little Mermaid tattoos all over, and so I kind of just told him that and let him run with it. So he made all these pieces without me knowing what was going to come in the mail, and he did a fantastic job. So This is a pendant to wear on a necklace. There you go. Hopefully this is showing off just how beautiful these pieces are. He has names for all these. He names all of his jewelry. I don't remember the exact names that he gave them, but I do know that they are absolutely stunning. This is one of her favorite necklaces here. Look at that. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. And I love the chain he chose as well. And got some bracelets. I mean, look at that. Absolutely incredible. Just look at that, guys. That is gorgeous. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, yeah, I just wanted to thank Richard for all the work he put into that. He does not reproduce his jewelry, so whatever you purchase from him, you are the only person that has it. I was blown away when I saw what he made for my wife. I could not have been happier. There is no way that I could have spent the money I did and got anything like that from anywhere else. Richard, you are absolutely amazing. There you go, guys. That's the Friends tag for today. Like I said, it was a shorter one, but I enjoyed it. Got to show off some things that were not horror related as well. And I'm going to have some of that coming up too. Like I said, I've been a little horror centric lately, which is fine, but I want to show you guys that I'm not a one-trick pony, if you will. Again, thank you as always for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll be back soon with what could possibly be the largest book haul that any of you have ever seen, and some other very exciting things. So let me go on and put the cat footage in here, because if I don't, I think Nikki is going to find me and hurt me. Aww. Aww. All right, so there you go, guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Cheers.